She's an amazing lady. I read her whole CV per se, and let me tell you, the mission, it seems so simple, but they're doing a huge impact. PsychArmor's mission is to bridge the civilian military gap by educating a nation. I mean, those words, educating a nation, is huge. Miss Heidi Kraft, tell us more about that.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be here. And as my friend Roxana just said, a number of these organizations are our partners, our cherished friends, and it is always wonderful to be back on in any kind of conference, whether virtual or in person, with our partners. Is it all right if I share my screen then? Okay.
Yes.
Let's do that. This is a kind of a deck that I have used for a number of different things, and I thought I would just kind of go through kind of briefly what we do, so that if there's any questions, we can certainly turn that over to the audience to let us know if they have anything that we can do to assist. So as was mentioned, I'm Heidi Kraft. I am a Navy veteran. That is in 2004 in Al-Assad, Iraq. If anyone has family members that were there at that time, it was a crazy time to be part of a Marine surgical company. Certainly the best and worst time of my life at the same time. Since then, I spent 10 years on active duty. I'm also a military spouse. My husband's a former Marine Harrier pilot, and a military daughter. My dad retired from the Navy, so I feel like I come at this from a lot of different angles. I'm now the Chief Clinical Officer at PsychArmor Institute, which, as was mentioned, is basically an online education portal. But the mission is to educate as many people as we possibly can who support veterans, military families, and caregivers. And so there's a lot of different places you can imagine where that intersection occurs. So many, many civilians are unfamiliar with military culture, as you know. It's fewer than 7% of Americans who have ever served in uniform. So sometimes, as people are either on active duty and around that active duty family, or as they transition, sometimes there's a struggle that goes around that. And those that surround them that are not familiar with the culture don't understand it. There was really not a centralized place for people to go before PsychArmor to get that information that they need. So we provide educational support. It's free online training. We pride ourselves in trying to make it as interactive and as interesting as we can. But we're basically reaching to a lot of different sectors, including employers, healthcare providers, educators, volunteers, families, caregivers. We are moving into even educating veterans as they transition, as we've been helping out the TAPS program with turning their information into an online situation. So we have online courses in technology, 200 plus now. We're building and getting bigger and bigger. No cost to learners. And for many of them, they're in these learning pathways. So since we're speaking to a caregiver audience, we have a robust caregiver portfolio of courses that are taught by subject matter experts. A lot of them are really the nation's experts in some of these topics. We try to keep our courses short and as engaging as possible. We know that caregivers don't have a lot of time to sit and get education. So we're hoping to kind of break that down and make it as relevant as possible. This was just a slide about impact, but basically we've been around now for 5+ years, and we have over 1.2 million of our courses have been completed. And we know that we're getting a bigger and bigger demand for people who want to have access to our courses. So for us, that's the ultimate compliment, is when someone says, I would take another course, or I would refer someone to take a course. We have a number of subject matter experts who come from a variety of different places in the caregivers community. Many of you will recognize some of these groups, including the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, Semper Fi Fund, the Rosalind Carter Institute, USAA, as you can see there, a number of, there's Fisher House, Hope for the Warriors. Roxana, who just spoke, has been a SME of ours and an advisor. And speaking of that, a lot of consultants and advisors, actual caregivers, leaders in the caregiver community. We really pride ourselves on that. We want these courses to be informed by not just evidence and the nation's subject matter experts, but also the true subject matter experts in the people who have lived this experience. So we have a robust advisory committee and consultancy group that really does back what you would learn in our courses. So we do have this portfolio, which I mentioned. It is sponsored by the USAA Foundation, and there are a number of courses. I think we're over 40 now, caregiver courses, and they have sort of been categorized into either self-care, communication, or general information. And we try to sort of make this as straightforward as possible so that it matches our caregiver binder program, which I'll talk about in a moment. But I thought I'd show you, just recently as COVID kind of hit and everybody got kind of turned upside down, it occurred to us that military connected people have strategies for resilience that really does make a big difference in what we've already, you as caregivers, as military families, you know this stuff. So we've sort of embarked on a different pathway, if you will, around reaching caregivers with COVID. And it has led to a lot of new partnerships and a lot of new engagements. I'm going to show you just a clip so that you can kind of see what our courses look like. So when we say we are good at this, you can kind of see what I mean. This is a course called Invisible Wounds at Home. What are invisible wounds?
Hello, and welcome to this course for family members, caregivers, and friends of our country's veterans. I'm your narrator, Dr. Tina Atherall. I am a social worker and the CEO of PsychArmor Institute. Today, I speak with you as a clinician, dedicated servant of veterans and their families, and most importantly, as a Marine, family member, and mother of 4. This course is called Invisible Wounds at Home. Understanding invisible wounds, and it is designed to be an overview for those of you who care about a veteran in your life. So let's talk a little bit about these injuries. We generally define them in 4 distinct diagnoses, but it's important to understand that there can be a lot of crossover in symptoms. So sometimes it takes a while to really know what might be going on clinically, and veterans can, and often do, have more than one. It's important to know that they do not just happen in war. They can happen to anybody at any time, and they do. To learn more, please visit our caregiver courses at PsychArmor.org.
So that's just a snippet that shows you kind of what the course looks like. We also have a long-time collaboration with the VA and a number of VA-connected caregiver courses, including a series on stress first aid, narrated by the country's expert in stress first aid, a series on mantra repetition, which is a mindfulness technique, narrated by the country's expert in mantra repetition, and then a number of others that are narrated by VA SMEs, including this clip here, which is a course on intimate partner violence. I think in the interest of time, I will keep going in order to be able to tell you about our caregiver binder and award. Interestingly, as we have been moving through this experience with caregivers, we've been doing a lot of interviews and surveys with them. And one thing that kept coming up was that our caregivers wanted a place to be able to put PDFs about our courses so that they could keep kind of the bottom line, what they needed to remember, as well as other important things. And they didn't want it on an app. They wanted it as something they could hold on to with their hands. That led to our binder program, which is sponsored by USAA Foundation. This is a picture of it here. Caregivers just need to jump on our website and click on our binder program, and it's really straightforward and easy. You take 4 courses that fit your interests and what are interesting to you. Again, some of them are 5 to 8 minutes long. And then you just get in touch with us and let us know. And then we send a binder to you wrapped up. It's got some PDFs in it. There's also some printables on our website that you can add to it. There's places for important documents and other kinds of trackers and notes pages. So we've given out about almost 1,200 binders now. We have another 600 that will be going out this year. And our caregivers love them. They love them. So please spread the word. Let your friends and caregivers who are with your groups know about our binder program. In addition, we've partnered with Elizabeth Dole Foundation and Hidden Heroes. When caregivers that are in our program register for Hidden Heroes, we're able to send this certificate of achievement that's co-signed by Senator Dole. These are just some words, people who have told us how much it matters, that they were looking for mentoring, they were looking for connection and resource, that they really do feel like they connected with us because of our caregiver portfolio. All right, I'm gonna stop share and come back to me. I tried to do that in 10 minutes. I don't know if I did, or less than 10 minutes. So hopefully there's any time for Q&A if there's anything for me.
You did perfect on time. So thank you for coming and presenting. We don't have any questions right now. If anyone has any questions, definitely feel free to post them in the chat real quick. And then I also posted your website information, things like that, so they can get in contact or look up any additional information they might need.
Yeah, please just go to PsychArmor.org, and the website has been revamped and it's pretty straightforward. It'll take you to the caregiver binder and award program, and it'll explain. It's pretty straightforward. Hopefully the courses will be short and informative for you, and we'd love to have everyone join our community.
Right. And I think it's great. I mean, even in this time right now, what are we all doing at home? You know, all I'm doing is trying to look up things to keep me entertained at home. So I think this is a great, especially right now, if you have some free time, you know, take a couple courses, look into it and see if we can learn some more. We just have some few comments that are saying just how they've used it before and how instrumental it was in helping them navigate learning more about military culture and also starting their caregiver journey. And we're glad there's Spanish classes also.
Yep, and that is a push as we move forward, that will be continuing to adding more of those. I see someone here saying they've been instrumental in educating providers and spouses like myself who didn't serve. That really is the ultimate goal, is to make sure that military culture is something that everyone at least knows the right questions to ask, right? You don't need to know it all, but if you know a couple of the right questions to ask, it can really be a game changer for people.
Yep. All right, well, thank you. Again, if they have any questions, I put your contact info in the chat so they can reach out to you if needed. Thank you for coming.